Hello everyone, welcome on in. It's Betting Weekly Game Bet Match. It's our second episode of the week. Before I introduce you to Sean Calvert, please hit that subscribe button. I urge you at the beginning of every show to hit that subscribe button. It means so much to us to subscribe to our channel. We're growing at a very fast rate, and with your help we can grow even faster, and that's why we do these shows. So we want you to get involved with us, we want you to join the community, and we want you to cash some tickets, believe it or not, and that is exactly what Sean Calvert did to us yesterday. He had a sweep on the show. If you watched Sunday's show, you would have seen our outright selections. You would also seen 3 winning picks from Sean on the match betting, and he's jet over to Umag, 5-star luxury, living up with the family on the back of his winnings. How are you doing, mate?
I'm all right. I'm probably only about 4 out of 10 today. I have got a dodgy stomach, I have to say, but I'm soldiering on, because I'm a professional, as you know. Did you say 5-star luxury just then?
Well, you're splashing out on the cash after hitting the jackpot yesterday in the sweep. I thought you'd be in the champagne bar. I thought you'd be. Don't worry, Leg. You can have any football top you want. No problem. Dad's got a sweep up. That's what we're going.
That might be going on later in the week, but as you know yourself, you've been here. This is not what you would call. I wouldn't call it 5-star luxury. It's all right, but it does have a sort of 1980s kind of Eastern European
earlier.
vibe.
I feel earlier.
Earlier? You think it's earlier? I'd say 80s.
It reminds me.
I'd say 80s.
It reminds me of sort of going to Spain before, like, sort of it become fashionable. Yeah. The resorts become upbeat. The hotels have all smashed to pieces. Some of the office blocks and all that kind of stuff on the beach. There's no sand. They're all lying on slabs of concrete.
It is like
concrete
that, yeah.
Steps to go. It's like
That's
going
Umag,
to sort of like Lorette de Mar or something Costa Brava when it. In 1979, that's what I think. That's the kind of feeling.
You're a lot older than me, then, Nigel. I don't remember the 1979 Lorette de Mar vibe. I was only about 7. Yeah, no, it's Umag. It is what it is. This isn't Umag, is it? It's outside of Umag where the tennis is, and this is what it is. It's Plava Laguna, isn't it? It's like a little resort. Yeah. There are no luxurious options here, I don't think. Not without kind of going quite a way away from the tennis, and for me it's I need to be kind of near the tennis, like a sort of 10-minute walk, which is where I am here. So yeah, I managed to get there. I got, obviously the flight was delayed yesterday, as usual, and then managed to get here just in time to take Lagan to watch Basilashvili. And I was sitting there saying to him, we managed to get front row seats for it, and I was saying to him, look, here we go, Lagan, this is the guy I put on the show. He's a set and 5-1 up. Yeah, almost made a huge mess of it, didn't he? Lost his serve twice, had about 4 or 5 match points that he didn't take, but eventually managed to get it done. And I don't know whether you saw the Instagram, but there's so many. Basilashvili was there for probably about 10 minutes afterwards. There was that many kids clamoring in there trying to get his signature and all that sort of stuff. He almost broke into half a smile at one point, Basilashvili. I've never seen that before, but yeah, and we got a couple of winners at Washington DC as well, didn't we? All plus money, so yeah, all good.
It was a very good evening indeed. If you want to follow Sean over in Umag, it is at Because We Win on our socials. And if you like what you're hearing from the show here, remember you can subscribe to our newsletter. If you like what you hear on the show, sign up to our newsletter, get exclusive tips and the free Insider magazine, as well as the newsletter. Sign up for free at bettingweeklystudios.com. Now, we have 4 matches we are going to discuss. Obviously, we're recording this a little bit early on Tuesday morning because we've got prior arrangement. Sean's away. I've got to go out this afternoon. So we've done this early. We're sort of limited on the matches that we can discuss. But the 4 matches that have caught Sean's attention all happen to be at the event over in Washington. So you've got a little bit of time to place your bets on this. Not necessarily so much of a rush in the early morning.
This one's tonight, though, I should just say, sorry.
Yeah, the Muller one is tonight. Yeah. So we got Muller against Holger Rune. So obviously this one is this evening. But before we go into looking at the 4 matches that Sean has picked out for us and found a little bit of value, we've got to start with the weather over in Washington. I watched it yesterday on the TV here. The players were struggling with the heat. The crowd was struggling with the heat. On the main court, there was nobody literally watching the game in the main court because it was open. On the outside court where Cam Norrie was playing, everybody was watching it because they had a roof and they were clambering underneath the roof to get some shade.
Right.
It's going to be a big factor. Is that going to continue throughout the week, or certainly to later today on tomorrow?
Yeah, I think so. It's kind of like this all week. I mean, the guys out there, the Bet Rivers guys out there, will know the conditions better than me. You'll probably know the conditions better than me because you've seen a bit of it. I'm kind of here in Umag, but I can only really go on what the forecast says, and it says tomorrow it's going to be 31 in the shade, but that doesn't account for the humidity, which is a little bit of guesswork. I would say it probably feel more like sort of 35. with the humidity. But if you are on a totally uncovered court, unshaded court, then obviously that makes it tricky for the spectators. Obviously, very, very tough for the players as well. But yeah, it's always a tough conditions in Washington DC. It is hot. It is very humid. That was one of the reasons I went with TFO on the outrights. The guy's playing in his home tournament, if you like. But yeah, and this also going to be a factor in the match that I'm about to talk about with Holger Rune. Yeah, it's always tough conditions in DC.
Let's start with that match. Holger Rune up against Alexandre Muller. Holger Rune is a favourite, minus 286 favourite, quite a strong favourite, and being supported in the betting market. Muller is plus 220, spread is 3.5, total here is 22.5. Rune goes through patches of good form and bad form. He's currently in a bad run of form. He hasn't won a match since Queen's Club where he beat McDonald. Got beaten the first round at Wimbledon by Jarry, got beaten the quarterfinal of Queens by Bautista Agut. Muller also is in a bad run, bad slump, but he has already come through one match here in the first round to get to this stage to play the seeded player Holger Rune. The match starts at 7 p.m. Eastern time this evening, so I can imagine it might be a little bit cooler. 7 p.m. Eastern. I still think it'll be hot, but it might be a little bit more favourable in the conditions.
Yeah, I guess it'll be slightly cooler, but it'll be cooler as far as the sun's concerned, obviously. But the humidity is higher, so it's negligible. Like really, I'm just trying to look at the latest odds for this one actually. But yeah, I mean Holger Rune, he couldn't be accused of not trying things in his tennis career, could he? I don't know whether people know, but he's now working with Andre Agassi. That's just happened in the recent sort of weeks. As far as I know, that's just a temporary thing for the US swing. Everything's temporary with Holger Rune, isn't it? He goes through quite a few coaches. He's also hired Marco Panici, who's the former fitness coach of Novak Djokovic and Yannick Sinner. So he's got a new team again. Those that are maybe new to the show, Holger Rune does go through a lot of coaches. But if you are working with somebody new, maybe not necessarily on the fitness side, but on the technical side, which obviously he is with Andre Agassi, the changes don't happen overnight. If he's making changes, then that it takes time to bed in. And he's never lacking in self-confidence, is he, Holger Rune? He said, talking about this relationship with Agassi, he said, he had an amazing return. I have a great return as well. But he gave me some tips on how to make it even better. He never misses an opportunity to say how great he is he, Holger Rune? It's quite entertaining. So he's tinkering with it. Yeah, I guess he's given him a few things to work on, and that's what he's going to be doing in this match, you would think. Otherwise, what's the point in making the changes? I do wonder about him in these conditions. I really do. He's a regular struggler, Holger Rune, in very hot and humid conditions. If people haven't seen him maybe over the years, he does tend to cramp a lot in these types of conditions. Not played this tournament since 2021 when he lost to JJ Wolf. Whatever happened to him? Had a few injuries.
Who was afraid of him? No one was afraid of him, were they?
They used to be. They're not so much anymore. I think he had quite a few injuries, Wolf. He's playing a lot on the Challenger circuit now, trying to get back into it. But yeah, so he's not played here for 4 years. As I say, lost to Wolf. Now, Muller is a guy that I would suggest is more proven in these sort of conditions. He won Hong Kong right at the start of the year in kind of hot and humid conditions there. And people might remember he lost the first set in every single match he played there, Muller, and still won the tournament. So he's not afraid of a battle on a hard court in hot and humid conditions. I would say, is Rune a kind of guy that will emerge victorious from a battle in hot and humid conditions? I wouldn't be so sure. Certainly not minus 286 sure. The stats aren't, they're not overwhelming for Holger Rune at all. There's not much in it. On hard courts, outdoor hard, main level, last 12 months, service points won and return points won totals. Muller 99, Rune 101. So he's a couple of points better. Yes, you would have him as a favourite, but would you have him minus 286? I'm not sure I would. Muller's obviously already played a match here to get used to the conditions. Rune coming off an injury at Wimbledon, yet another injury. As you say, not in fabulous form. So I think this is a shaky minus 286 personally. I'm going to take Muller to win over 11.5 player games here with Bet Rivers. It was minus 112 when I looked earlier on, 1.89. I'll just have a look in a minute if I see if I can find it, what it is right now. But I'd either take that. That's the one I'm going to take. But you can also take over 2.5 sets, the game handicap on Muller, or over the totals. Any of those options, I think, would be pretty decent in this one.
Line has moved slightly over 11.5 games. Is minus 113 now for Alexandre.
Yeah, tiny
so
amount, yeah.
little tiny move. There's 29 different markets available on the BetRivers website. If you download the app, you'll be able to live stream this match on your tablet, your mobile device. Watch the match. You can bet live and watch live with the BetRivers. So our first official play is Alexandre Muller over 11.5 games at minus 113. We expect Holger Rune to struggle in the conditions tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern time. So head across to the BetRivers website, download the app. Make sure you get on your bet nice and early because it's tonight. It's this evening, Tuesday evening, 7 o'clock. Now we move on to matches for tomorrow, Wednesday's matches now. And the first match for Wednesday is a match which is an interesting game. It's Daniil Medvedev up against Reilly Opelka. Medvedev obviously is not playing anywhere near his best, although he did get to the final of Halle, where he got beat by Bublik in the final, but he got beat in the first round at Wimbledon, a shock defeat by Bonzi when we were on him to win the tournament.
And I was sat there in the first row.
Yeah, you were to go through that.
Dude.
Are we going to stick with our man after he let us down at Wimbledon? Are we going to stick with him again this week, or are we going to oppose him with Opelka, who come through the first round at Washington in a bit of a struggle against Kazoni? But there is a little bit of history between the two of them. They've met 6 times, 4 wins for Medvedev, as you would expect, 2 wins for Reilly Opelka. And the last time they met, no surprise, in Herzogenbosch on grass, 7-6, 7-6. And the games here is high again. 24.5 is the game, over and under, the spread 2.5, and Medvedev is a minus 335 favourite. Market's quiet on this one. Nobody really has shown their ace card yet. I'm probably waiting to see what you say, Sean, but what are your opinion on this one tomorrow?
I think it's quite a tricky opening match of a hard court swing, let alone just a tournament. But for Medvedev, they're all coming from the grass. These guys, Muller and Opelka, they've played one match here in these conditions already. It's a pretty all right advantage for those guys. He has had the call in this matchup, Medvedev, but he hasn't. It's been tricky for him. The stats suggest that it's quite a good matchup for him, but the results haven't really panned out that way. A couple of times he won in a final set tiebreak. He lost to Opelka, of course, on the grass of Rosmalen, but anyone that watched that match, I think he hit 3 double faults in the last 4 points or something like that. He certainly double faulted at least twice to give the match to Opelka. But as I said, he's found Opelka a tough guy to beat. In the career series, they've played, 6 times. 2 of Medvedev's wins came in final set tiebreaks. One of them was here in Washington, D.C. Also lost to Opelka on indoor hard. The stats of the matchup do favour Medvedev, 108-92 in terms of service points won and return points won totals. Yeah, it's a decent advantage for sure. But Opelka still holds 89% of the time in this matchup. Medvedev 96% of the time. So you can see why the line is how it is, 24.5. Medvedev, all right record in Washington. I don't think he's played here for a few years, actually. His service points won and return points won total here is 104. Opelka 98, not particularly great, but Opelka does hold serve 90% of the time at this tournament, and he does tend to play his best tennis at home in the US, like a lot of American players do. Isner was one that tended to play his best stuff in America. Opelka very similar. After his first match, he said, "I love playing back in the US. It's totally different coming from playing on grass and clay in Europe. It's definitely nice to be back." He is one of those guys that does prefer to play at home. He's had that one match under his belt already. Medvedev, he's a confidence player, as you know with Medvedev. He tends to go on streaks, and he's not on one of those streaks at the minute. I think he'll win this because the matchup, the stats, as I've said, he has certainly dominated the matchup. But I think if you're betting it, I think Medvedev 2-1 is the value here, plus 250. I think Medvedev, if he is going to win this, the way he's playing and the circumstances of this match, it probably suggests that he'll have to do it the hard way. I think he'll come through it, but 2-1 to me is probably the way I would go here if I was betting this one.
No official play there? No, just a lean for 2-1.
Yeah, these are quite tricky matches today, so it's
okay. Yeah,
it's better to be circumspect. If you're not massively into a bet, then it's a lean.
Okay, let's move on to our penultimate match. It's an all-Italian affair between Matteo, Arnaldi and Lorenzo Sonego. Surprised I was that these two have never played before. Quite surprising, really. They're being Italian, probably, you would have thought they would have played each other, but no, they haven't. If you look at their record this year, 7-6 each on hard court, identical record. Their world ranking is only separated by 7 points. Not really much in the betting either. Lorenzo Sonego is a narrow favourite at Bet Rivers at -122. Arnaldi is even money. But looking at my magic screen here, the money is coming for Arnaldi. He's going minus money across the board. So if you want to get with an Aldi, you might want to get on nice and early. 1.5 spread total here, 23.5. This match is tomorrow. All the matches tomorrow start at 11 o'clock Eastern time. What do you think here? I'm guessing if you look at this, I mean, I suppose the advantage for an Aldi is that he's had the advantage of playing already, being beaten Altmaier. Had a bit of a bad run, lost 3 consecutive matches coming into this tournament, and Sonego did play well at Wimbledon, didn't he? Got to the last 16, got beat by Ben Shelton, played well in that match as well. We cashed on him winning the first set. Interesting one here, but the early market is for the younger man, Arnaldi.
So Arnaldi's probably going to be, you're suggesting that Arnaldi's perhaps going to be start favourite for this or joint favourite?
I think Arnaldi will definitely start minus money. I think it'll probably be a pick and match.
In that case, if that's the case, then I'm tempted with Sonego here. And it's about the conditions, really. Arnaldi was not good at all yesterday in the opening round. He had to save 6 match points and come from a double breakdown in the final set against Altmaier, who does, unfortunately, for the German, have a tendency of doing that, losing big leads. He's done that throughout his career, and Arnaldi was the latest one to take advantage. You know, Altmaier should have won that match. There's not much in it in the last 12 months on outdoor hard at main level. It's a tiny advantage to Sonego in terms of service points won and return points won totals. 101 to 100 in favour of Sonego. Not much. Win rates are pretty similar as well. But I think the deciding factor for me here, if you're betting on this match, is, as I said, the conditions. Sonego is more effective on serve, holding 85% of the time in the last 12 months on hard at main level, winning 75% of first serve points. Arnaldi only holding 77% of the time, and his set of statistics are more return oriented than Sonego's, which would suggest he would perhaps be better on a slower hard court, and Sonego better on a quicker hard court. Conditions here are quicker for me, so that leads me towards Sonego. But he always worries me, Sonego, when he's not in a major. I think people perhaps will remember when I've talked about him at the French Open and at Wimbledon. He does have a much better set of statistics in slams than he does on the World Tour, Sonego. He did win Winston-Salem in this sort of swing last year without dropping a set. But prior to that, his record in North America at this time of the year isn't that great. And that was a very Sonego thing to do. Not a great record at this time of year. Comes up and wins a tournament without dropping a set. And then after that, I think he went on a run of a lot of defeats. That's Lorenzo Sonego. He's not the easiest guy to predict away from majors. But if the odds are going the way you're suggesting, then I would be tempted to take Sonego if you're going to get if it's going to be a pick'em or maybe slight favoritism on Arnaldi. Then I would go with Sonego.
I'd keep an eye on the market. I do expect them both to go about -110 the pair. And I think that the money, Bet Rivers are holding out on that even money. It's a standout price. So I think eventually during the day it's going to go. So yeah, I think if you want to take an Aldi, take it now. If you want to listen to Sean's advice and go with Sonego, I think wait a bit later on today. You might get bigger than the -122. But that's another lean from Sean there. Our final match is a interesting one. It's the two big servers, Taylor Fritz against Alexander Vukic. Taylor Fritz, we haven't seen him since he got beat in the semi-finals of Wimbledon by Carlos Alcaraz. Vukic got beat by Yannick Sinner at Wimbledon, but we've seen a lot of him since. He got beat in first round and lost Cabos. He come through qualification here against Mpechi Perigard in a match that went long. If you look at the history between the two of them, it's 2-0 to Taylor Fritz, but everything doesn't tell the full story. They played at Atlanta. It was 7-6, 6-7, 6-4 in the final in 2023. And in Eastbourne on the grass, where Fritz has got an unbelievable record at Eastbourne, 7-6, 7-6, giving him probably one of his most difficult matches in the last 3 years at that venue. So in their 5 sets they've played, 3 tie breaks. 4 of the match sets have gone over 10.5, and all of them have gone over 9.5. I don't think Sean's going to be interested in Taylor Fritz at -575, and I'm not quite sure if he can make a case for Vukic at +425. Spread is 4.5, total is 21.5. I think we're looking at first set overs in this match.
You are correct, I think.
I think so, yeah. I think that's the way we've got to go, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I would love it if Vukic won this match. Obviously, we're on TFL on the outrights. If Fritz slipped up here, that would be great, but it doesn't look likely given the statistics that I'm about to to talk about. It could be a tricky opener though for Fritz, at least initially. That's kind of obvious if you look at the head-to-head. 4 of the 5 sets they've played have gone over 10.5 games, which would suggest a serve-dominated encounter. But it is, but it could have been so much better for Taylor Fritz, and should have been so much better for Taylor Fritz. That the head-to-head of those matches that they've played, those 2 matches, 111-89 in service points won and return points won totals in favour of Taylor Fritz. Fritz holding serve 100% of the time. Vukic holding serve 93% of the time. However, Fritz has only taken 2, excuse me, of the 30 breakpoint chances that he's had against Vukic, which is a terrible return. Vukic saving 86% of the breakpoints against him, which is a very, very high number. And Vukic only creating 1 breakpoint in 30 Fritz service games. So Fritz shouldn't have any problems holding serve if that carries on the way that it has been in their matchup. You know, Vukic winning only 21% of the return points. He's not likely to win a set any other way other than a tiebreak, you would think. And Fritz has got to do a lot better on the breakpoint chances than he has so far in this matchup. Either Vukic has been playing unbelievable on breakpoints and hitting his spots on serve every single time, or Fritz has been a little bit wasteful, or perhaps a combination. But given that it's Fritz's, as I said, like with all these guys, the seeds, it's their first hard court match for a while. Fritz's first match, obviously, since Wimbledon semi-finals, and Vukic already played 3 sets here in these conditions against a server as big as it gets in Mpetshi Pericard, and I don't think he played a tiebreak in that match either, did he? I think it was 3 non-tiebreak sets, Vukic against Mpetshi Pericard, which you wouldn't think would happen, but it did. So, in short, Vukic has been hanging on in this matchup, but he's hung on very, very well, and he's hung on often enough to take a lot to force it to a lot of tie breaks. So, set 1 over 10.5 games earlier on when I looked, it was 3.25 plus 225.
Wow, that sounds a big price, doesn't it?
It does seem big on the matchup, on the stats. You can kind of see why, because Vukic has been, you would argue, quite lucky to get to a tiebreak a lot of those times. But he's got the advantage here of obviously being more attuned to the conditions than Taylor Fritz. So, yeah, again, that's where I would go if I was betting this match. I would wager on Vukic again holding serve often enough to take it past that overs mark. And Fritz shouldn't have any problems holding serve against Vukic.
Yeah, plus 225 over 10.5 sets in game 1. Either 9 over 9.5. Go down the toggle, move it down 1. Take a little bit of minus money. That looks a nice bet to me. That's not an official play. We just have the one official play on the show, and it's in the first match that we discussed in the game between Alexandre Muller and Holger Rune.
Yeah.
And just give us what the official play is, Sean, again.
Yeah, so I'm going to take, where's it gone? I'm going to take Alexandre Muller to win over 11.5 games in this match at 1.89 with Bet Rivers. So he's got to win 12 games, basically.
Yeah, that is our only official play. As I said, we started the week with 3 official picks, 3 winners, taking our profit to 22.72 units on this show throughout the year. We keep you abreast of everything. People were moaning when we were minus money. We keep our records all the time, unlike any other betting content on any other shows. We are transparent with all our results. We go through the wins together, we go through the losses together, plus 22.72 units on the tips that we've given on this show. Also, I said earlier, if you want to subscribe to the newsletter, you can do as well. If you like what you're hearing here, please go to bettingweeklystudios.com and subscribe to our newsletter and Insider, which goes out every Monday and every Friday. Loads of content coming your way. Betting Weekly Tennis Live, Monday through to Wednesday, 11 o'clock Eastern Time. Betting Weekly Hardball and Fast Break. Does Kazarian and the American team take over at 1 o'clock Eastern Time and go through to 2 o'clock Eastern Time. And also we have all other content. We're always starting off with the Betting Weekly Live as well, going on as well. And we also have the start of the football season in a few weeks, and we'll have you covered here on Betting Weekly Premier League and Betting Weekly Extra Time. Sean, what do you got planned today? Have you got like a 5-a-side football competition out?
For me?
Yeah, well, you'll be watching. I'm sure you won't be participating.
God, no, not in this.
A little bit of canoeing or something like that on the lake. What do you got?
Well, Lagan's out there at the minute. just he loves looking at the fish because it's you probably know yourself. You can walk out quite a long way. It's not a deep kind of sea bit that they have here, so you can walk out and he just likes sort of snorkeling, looking at the fish. Then he'll probably perhaps play a bit of five-a-side football. But he actually really enjoyed that Basilashvili match last night. You know, he was saying, "Daddy, can I come again and watch another match?"
Wow.
So
we could have our jobs could be under threat in a few years' time.
Maybe I could teach him the family business. I don't know.
That'd be good.
He's on about going.
I don't think there's as much chance of that for my son as you've met him. You don't get any words out of him.
No, well, not at the moment, but you know, who knows? There's a long way to go with both of these lads. Mine in particular, obviously, is only 10, but yeah, he's doing all that. He enjoys it, and he's actually talking about watching the doubles today because, as you probably remember, the outside courts, literally anybody can walk in and watch them, can't they? You have to have tickets for the centre and the one next to it, but there's some doubles on there later, and he's on about going to watch that. So yeah, we'll see.
Well, enjoy your father and son time. It changes very quickly. 1 minute you're watching doubles with your son and playing five-a-side football, and your next minute you'll be doing what I'm doing on Friday night, my boy, going and having a few beers watching Oasis. It changes very, very quickly. So just enjoy it. Yes, it'll be good. I'm back again tomorrow. Enjoy your night, and good luck with your bets. Good luck with everyone's bets as well. We're back again tomorrow for the final Betting Weekly game bet match of the week. Please hit the subscribe button. Subscribe to the newsletter as well at bettingweeklystudios.com, and we'll speak to you all again tomorrow. Take care.